Since 1911, the Pierre Parts Store has been your one-stop shop. Family owned and operated for 4 generations, the Pierre Parts Store has served the community by providing groceries, hardware, home products, and much more, including a full-service lumber yard. Now, we've added the TPSO store to the family with the same values and service we've delivered for over 100 years. The Pierre Parts Store and the TPSO store, our family serving your family.
Everybody, welcome back to Bayou Time. Harry McCullough here. It's time to check in with the Terrebonne Parish Sheriff's Office, Tim Saunier's office. Blake Tabor is the Public Information Officer. This is an investigation that's been going on for a couple of years now, right?
Absolutely, yeah. So we've come on a lot and talk about some really interesting cases. This is one that I can honestly say that in my time as a law enforcement officer, I've seen someone get arrested for this very few times. So, and this is going to direct about some investigations involving a shooting. So ultimately what happened was in December 2nd of 2022, our agency was called to the 3700 block of of Thomas Drive in reference to a drive-by shooting that occurred at that location. Of course, anytime a shooting happens, our criminal intelligence unit and our violent crimes division is usually a part of that, and that happens very quickly. And there was no difference in this particular incident. But our investigators responded to that location, got some really vital information as it pertained to a vehicle description. Almost simultaneously as this was happening, our patrol deputies were receiving a call of a stolen vehicle that was being reported, and they were actually trailing that vehicle. So we got very lucky in this particular instance. Of course, once that communication line between the investigators and the patrol deputies really began moving, we realized that this may have been the suspect vehicle. So ultimately, a traffic stop occurred where they found and discovered a Ahmad Rashad Vincent Jr. Of course, we don't have a image available of him at this particular point in time due to some juvenile-related matters. He is, of course, not a juvenile at this time, and that's really important to point out. But ultimately, our investigators spoke with him and was able to link him investigatively once we stopped that particular vehicle. Some evidence inside that vehicle was located and linked very strongly to the shooting that happened on Thomas Drive. Ultimately, when Mr. Vincent was interviewed, he provided a statement and a series of details to investigators, which, as we always do, we document that very, very clearly. At the end of that particular investigation, he was ultimately arrested for a multitude of charges, from possession of a stolen vehicle and a lot of narcotics and weapons-related violations. Now, we had a very savvy investigator, a part of our criminal intelligence unit, that started listening to the details of this case and subsequently had knowledge of a shooting that happened in the 300 block of Tulip Drive in the Houma Police Department's jurisdiction on the day prior. So as he began to listen to the details of that, he began to notice a lot of similarities. So he immediately contacted the Houma Police Department, who then responded to our office and conducted their own investigation into Mr. Vincent's whereabouts at the time of that shooting on Tulip Drive. Lo and behold, they were able to link him to that particular shooting, where he also provided a statement to HPD. And of course, I don't want to get into too much detail about their case, but he subsequently was arrested in that particular investigation as well. So we fast forward until July 26th of this year. There's a preliminary hearing going on in the 32nd Judicial District Court where Mr. Vincent was called in to testify. At the time of him testifying, he began to recant all of his statements that he provided to law enforcement in open court. As a matter of fact, he even recanted the fact that he even spoke with law enforcement. So that, of course, led to the development of probable cause for him to be arrested for 2 counts of perjury. And he was ultimately jailed on that at our criminal justice complex, where he is on a $100,000 bond.
Wow. So the perjury counts are now part of the weapons charge as well.
Absolutely. This is all intermingled into this particular court proceeding. And again, I don't want to delve too deep into it or make any statements for the district attorney's office, but he's created some serious problems for himself.
Yeah. So he's in jail currently. So then
absolutely,
hopefully maybe be charged down the road, and we'll see a case come here.
Yeah, and look, the important point of this for people to understand is that everything that we do, not only in shooting investigations, but any type of investigative service that we provide, it's about creating integrity throughout the investigation. And that comes from evidence that we find, interviews that we conduct. And I think this case sends a very clear message that you can't just get away with lying to law enforcement anymore. Right. There are ramifications for doing that, and you're going to be held accountable. And I think that's the message that this sends.
I think that'd be a great way to go about it. It seemed like that used to be the norm. Now it seems like people just lie or whatever whenever they want to.
Absolutely.
And not just on this kind of level, but all the way up.
Absolutely.
So it'd be great to get there as well. Changing subjects now a little bit. You guys actually had a fun night out. It's been a fun time of the year. It's called Tip a Cop. It's nothing about bribery. It was at Texas Roadhouse, and it was a fundraiser for the Special Olympics. Tell me a little more about this.
Yeah, so this is an event that we do every year, and I can't say enough about this. We look forward to doing this. We co-partner with Texas Roadhouse, where we go in, and in a nutshell, you've got a bunch of law enforcement officers who are serving as your hostess. We're bringing you baskets of rolls, which of course everybody loves.
Oh, yeah.
We're running food out of the kitchen. We're refilling drinks. And then of course, the patrons that are having dinner will sometimes tip us. And then all of those proceeds go back to the Special Olympics. This is an absolutely fun time. And it's really great for us to be able to humanize the badge and be able to see people in their natural environment, and us to be able to deal with the community in a way that we don't normally or typically get to do. So it's really important for us, and it was a great time.
Yeah, we talk about that a lot. A lot of times you're just not always in the best part when you run against a police officer. This is a great way to get to know these guys and know their part of the community as well.
Absolutely. And it's about creating, harmony in the community and letting people know, look, I understand that we have a badge, but we're people too. We're mothers, we're fathers, and we care about what happens in our community.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Well, Blake, appreciate it, man. Real interesting case, and thanks for getting a tip.
Yep.
All right.
Thank you.
We'll be right back with more Bayou Time right after this.
Today's social media segment is brought to you by Alford and Associates for all of your insurance needs. CIS, Cardiovascular Institute of the South, the highest quality cardiovascular care available. Barker Honda, the Barker family tradition of quality.